A North Carolina Christian Academy High School has recently kicked out a student for these reasons that may shock you. Now, there's always two sides of the coin, everyone. So let's look at both sides when it comes to this situation. I do have opinions that I want to relay to you guys, but I'm going to pull up this article. We're going to read right through it. And then once we're done reading, I'm going to go ahead and spell out my opinion. Okay, so this is by the WCNC out of Charlotte. It says, by day, Bailey Griggs was a student at Cramerton Christian Academy. By night, she's a singer and songwriter. She's an artist, recording artist. And last time I checked, I believe she's also a national artist, which is pretty big. All right. She performs at venues any chance she can get, but her school said the high note is out of tune. My mom showed me an email from the school, this is Bailey talking, saying they don't want me to come back there because I perform in venues that serve alcohol. All right. So, guys, this is I could stop here and give a lot of my opinions on regarding to this statement, but right now we're going to continue on. All right. All right. So, Cramerton Christian Academy sent the following email to Greg's mom. This letter is written to inform you that Bailey will not be eligible to attend homeschool bridge classes at CCA for the upcoming school year. The homeschool bridge program policies indicate that students who attend those classes must also comply with the expected standards of conduct outlined in student handbook. So apparently there's a student handbook that they have that I'm guessing when you, I guess it's kind of like you come into agreement or kind of a contract that you must abide by and rules you must follow. Okay. While we do not police every student's social media account, the school is often presented with situations or information that require our attention. In those circumstances, a student's social media presence may have a bearing on compliance with those standards. The primary purpose of our conduct standards allows us to fulfill our mission statement, which states that Cramerton Christian Academy endeavors to assist parents in equipping their students spiritually, academically, and physically so they can experience God's best for their lives. All right. So this is like the statement that Cramerton Christian is about. All right. Based on the sample behaviors listed on page 40 of the student handbook, attending nightclubs or bars and attending gatherings and alcohol or drugs present. Now, this kind of threw me in a little spiral because the way it's stated. Okay, I'm gonna give my opinion on that as well. Bailey's social media and scheduled performances would indicate that Cramerton Christian is no longer a good fit for Bailey's goals. As an alternative to the classes that Bailey would need for graduation, we would recommend exploring Gaston College's dual enrollment classes that are flexible and easy to schedule as needed. Now, going down here, this is what Griggs said. The email from the school struck a chord of confusion. As I just said, it's kind of like little wonky donkey, right? All right. You can go to a restaurant. This is what Griggs is saying. You can go to a restaurant. They serve alcohol. Griggs said you can go to an Olive Garden. It's the most innocent restaurant, but they serve alcohol. If you are going to kick me out, might as well kick the whole school out. Sounds like hypocrisy, right? Most of her life is dedicated to music, and at school, it was an escape. This is the one thing that's very normal for me. Greg said I was on the cheer team. That was super important to me, and that's what I was looking forward to the next year. Gosh, man, kind of hated for that. Now, I want to go to this other article right quick. Let me see something. I do remember, believe the news host was asking for an article where these policies were stated, and for some reason they didn't get back to him. But I do want to read up on another article. It's kind of like, hand in hand, but it's kind of like the words are like, changed differently. Okay. So this is, I believe this is Bailey. When you look at the handbook and the way it's written, it says that she's not to be gathering in places where there's alcohol and drugs. Jennifer Griggs said she's not gathering, she's doing her job. Okay. I'm the performer and I'm not drinking. I'm underage, Bailey Griggs said. That's clarity, right? Very clear. Jennifer Griggs said she received no warning from the school before the school expelled Bailey, which is why she believes the school singled her daughter out. The other kids in the schools, there's many posts of them attending music concerts, she said. If anyone knows when you go to those concerts, you are surrounded by alcohol. And here's the last thing I'm going to share with you guys on this article. Yeah, rules are rules, but make sure you are making everybody abide by those rules, not just some people, she said. It seems like this. Yeah, I believe this is her mother speaking. Clemson Christian Academy said it is standing by the decision to expel Bailey, adding the school holds very high standards for students and to abide by and does not enroll students not meeting those standards. All right. So here's my opinion on this situation. So I see from Bailey's side, she's basically saying, I feel like I'm being singled out, right, for something that many kids are actually doing in the school, but for some reason, I am the one being disciplined for it, right? And on the other hand, you have the Christian school that is saying you cannot be in this circle that is revolving around alcohol and drugs presented. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is I believe that the Christian school is actually coming up with certain rules, if from what I'm hearing, to make sure that these kids aren't being exposed to alcohol and drugs and many, influences out there that might derive them from God. However, I believe the way that it was stated is actually throwing a lot of confusion. Number one, Bailey doesn't seem to be around drugs, and she doesn't even seem to be even around alcohol. And the way that they stated that present seems like she cannot be around any alcohol or drugs that anybody is actively doing. Okay, so for her to actually be in a venue performing, doing what she is supposed to be doing as an artist and as a creative, but just because just because the venue serves alcohol doesn't mean that they are serving alcohol. And I'm gonna give you a really good example. Many Christians like us, including myself, who is a musician, we contend to perform at bars, including clubs and venues that serve alcohol, but aren't actually actively serving alcohol. Why? Because number one, we either chose to book it out and we have the rules of the say so. We're not serving alcohol just because that building is a building where people usually go to club, or a building where people usually go to a bar, or a building where people usually go, do a lot of, crazy things, does not mean that that stage is withheld for Christian performers as such as myself. All right. And on top of that, I'm going to be clear, that does not mean alcohol is involved or drugs are involved. We can actually bring the church there. There's times where we have rented out a booked a place where we actually bring Christians to that place, and that's where we do our concerts. There's nothing wrong with that. I really believe also, I think it was really wrong that the Christian school actually kicked her out without any further notice, without any warning, without any particular meeting to be even held to either talk this out and to kind of reconcile the situation. Instead, they just kicked her out, don't really care for what she had to say, or probably even what the mother had to say. And I just think that really looks bad on their end. That to me sounds more like a legalistic view or belief in standards and rules. Now, I am going to say, to be fair, I would say, if the parent knew about these rules, In my opinion, she should not have ever placed her daughter in this school. And this is the reason why, especially if you know that you're an artist and you're getting more, exposure and you having major influence, you know that's going to come back on you to know that there's going to be pictures posted everywhere, especially on social media, especially the social media around that we have nowadays, that your child is going to be exposed and the school is going to see that, and then you're going to have to pay for the consequences regardless if you were in the right or wrong. So I think that's the only side that I see, that if you knew that there were rules set in stone in place and you knew that your daughter was going to for sure explode like this, knowing that she's a national recording artist, probably should not have placed your child in that school. But still, regardless, whether she has placed her child in that school or not, I totally believe that this was wrong on the school side. Okay, I believe that there was no warning, there was no meeting. Once again, there was no way of reconciling this. Okay, it just really reminds me of Get Out, Kicked Out, and they're my way, the highway. Don't abide by the rules, you can leave. Like, I remember the school that I went to, we never had rules like that. The only rules that we had is like, if you're involved in anything that was causing danger to students or the school itself, then you weren't not only expelled, but sometimes you was even moved to another school. And that school usually deals with kids who cannot function correctly in regular public schools because they're always getting in trouble. But there's never a situation like this, and that's what really breaks my heart. The other thing is to know that there's other kids in that school who are actually involved in concerts where alcohol is being served, maybe even some drugs are being used, and the school is knowing this, right? There's a lot of he said, she said. I know people who actually went to the school and actually told me some things about this school. And it's just sad because she feels like she's being singled out, but nobody in this area is being disciplined but her. To me, I don't think that's fair. I really for sure believe that they definitely owe her apology, and maybe if not, in the future can work on handling their discipline in a slightly different manner. Another thing that really bothers me a lot is the fact that I kind of wish they were more clear about it versus just stating something so the parents should just assume what it is, right? Or the students should just assume what it is. It's that statement was not really clear, and regardless if she was in that atmosphere, it was clear by her statement, which if they just drew her to a meeting, why were you involved in this area, could have literally heard the answer from her by saying that there was no alcohol, there was no drugs, I was not involved in that, I was literally doing what I was supposed to do. But it's sad also, guys, that a building itself, to me, like you're making this seem like this is an unholy place, right? Like this place is unholy because XYZ is involved. Well, what about, just like she said, what about, us going to a restaurant serving alcohol, right? What about a bowling alley? And I'm gonna be honest, there's bowling alleys that serve alcohols, and people take their children to bowling alleys that serve alcohol, right? Oh, no. Such and such don't serve alcohol. Yes, they do. I've been to bowling alleys that serve alcohol. Yes, they do. And in any shape of manner, I believe that is so not fair for this child to be put in this situation because of the simple fact that there's hypocrisy that's also behind the doors. She's being targeted and singled out. That's how I feel, right? This is just my opinion. Nobody has to agree with this. I'm just stating my opinion, the way I'm looking at it from what the sources say, this is translating on how I'm receiving this, okay? Now, let's meet in the middle. How could have this been prevented, right? Well, number one, if the parent knew the rule, maybe the parent should have said something like, hey, don't post photos, don't post a concert, pictures, because XYZ might happen. We might get in this case and we might end up, take some disciplinary actions. However, with her being a recorded national artist, that's not going to be the case. In fact, if the parent knew, probably should have withdrew her kid out of school and placed her somewhere else. Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad, and we all need to know, guys, that every Christian institution is not perfect. You also need to know that just because this is a Christian school doesn't mean that all Christian schools are like this. Please hear me out. All Christian schools aren't like this, and I will tell you the truth that I would say as well that for people who say doing things in the name of religion is bad, or doing things in the name of God is bad, or I told you not to mess with that Christianity, this has nothing to do with this, okay? Because Christians aren't perfect, just like anybody else aren't perfect, okay? There's certain institutions who are more legalistic and who hold to more strict rules and standards than other Christian schools. I know there's Christian schools that I personally know that don't have rules like this, and that's fair game. So, in my regards, that's my opinion to what's going on. And shout out to Bailey for standing up and being herself. I hope that she follow her dreams. I hope that she's able to pursue the career that God has given her. I really do hope that she finds an education schooling that fits her needs, and definitely is going to help her and where she is going as well. Okay, now regards to the Christian school as well, we all need to know, guys, that that's their rules. If you don't abide by them, it is what it is. However, I do believe the way that they handled this and the way they went about this was wrong. Okay. There's some other things I want to talk about before I end this video. It's crazy because me, myself, as an artist, I remember going to places where I believed that people were going to criticize me for going, right? I can sit here and talk about this all day, but we need to know, especially when people know that you're a Christian, they know you follow God, they know that your character is in line and you are a person of integrity. It don't matter to some Christians at times. It really doesn't matter. Sometimes, not just Christians, even the world, sometimes you're just going to be looked at differently just because you're being a light to the world. You're being a light to the culture, as Jesus himself plainly states. Okay. Now we can all say that Jesus turned water to wine. That's a whole different scenario. That's a whole different ball game. I think sometimes people are just, I totally understand why people are saying that, but we do need to kind of zoom into the situation on why this even stirred up, right? It's not fair that somebody gets kicked out of a school without warning, without a sit down, without a talk. And think about how she's going to grow up, and she's going to kind of reflect on this, and this is going to kind of be a burden to her a little bit. Many people might say, oh, go do your thing, pursue your dreams, do your thing. Don't worry about that. Oh no. This is going to be probably a little bruise from her because she feels neglected. And this is another reason why that many Christians grow up feeling this way, is because sometimes the people that we trust and the people that we thought that were on our side end up either, neglecting us or I won't necessarily say that this particular school is doing that. What I'm saying is sometimes we might, experience, hurt from people that we trust, people that we believe that had our back, even institutions, but they end up not being there for us and end up, turning out and being something, that we never thought they were going to be, So, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions, right? Did Bailey actually, the consequences that she faced, did she deserve it? In my opinion, I don't think she did. I believe she was in the right. I believe there definitely could have been, some, they could have prevented this. I do believe that there could have been some reconciliation from this. Do you believe that the school was in the wrong? I do. Although I do say this, when people have rules, right? If people have rules, you got to abide by them. If people have certain way of doing things, you just got to make sure you respect them. But I don't agree that I see why they were doing that, but it's just the way it was stated, and the way it was just they went about it. And I also think there's assumption, or I also believe that there were some assumptions, like mad assumptions, like, she's in this place where, alcohol is being served. Well, guess what? That's probably where everywhere you go. You probably take your children with you to places that serve alcohol, right? And they see kids on social media all the time in places where alcohol is being served. But if she's in a place where she's being respected, she's not drinking, she's not consumption of alcohol, they're not even, most likely, I'm being honest, most likely they're not even serving alcohol. She's doing what she's supposed to be doing as an artist, being creative, being involved in entertainment, and being there to actually give the crowd of what she was always made to do. She is in the right. So you guys comment on this video. I want to know your thoughts. Maybe one day I might get her on this podcast, kind of share a little bit on her side, along with her mother, or maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see about that. But please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos that will be coming out for sure for you guys to enjoy and listen to you. So for you to enjoy and listen to. Look, I'm getting tongue twisted. Well, you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.